So yes, today we are going to talk about sentiment analysis. Do we have anybody here with an idea what sentiment analysis is? Anybody with an idea? Hello? Is it like we haven't heard about this one before? Yes. I haven't heard about it before. Okay. Then we are going to look at what it is then. And we are looking at sentiment analysis because we are assuming that some of us are HR professionals. And as we are also picking this up, we want to pay attention and focus on analyzing data related to human resource management. And in our quest to manage our human resource, tap into the talents they have, develop it for the benefit of the organization and everyone, there are a lot of issues that the organization will need to pay attention to. You remember we talked about why it's even necessary to have something like HR. And I think we discussed that it is important because we will need to go through a long process to identify talent, okay, get them on board. Then we decide to give them some kind of training, identify their talent, and then shape it for the benefit of the organization. Okay. So yeah, you can come in.
Pastor, sorry to take you back here. I just remembered something from last week. I wanted to clarify. The annual turnover rates, the formula you gave, I think you said it was terminates during the year over the total employees at the beginning of the year. And I was a little bit confused why we didn't find the average of the beginning and then the end of the year for the turnover rates. I wanted a little bit of clarification on that.
Okay, a moment on that. Let me go get the material so I can get you very well. Okay. Where is that one? Yeah, this one.
Yeah.
So you said which part is a bit confusing?
The formula.
The
You
formula.
said it's, yes.
So you were looking at maybe we finding the average, right?
Yeah, at least for the total employees at the beginning of the year and also at the end of the year. The average between the two. Wouldn't that be the turnover rate? Because at least we want to see how many employees started and then how many employees were left at the end of the year so that we know our turnover rates. Wouldn't that be the case?
Yeah, exactly. That is what we have here. So the those who were terminated during the year is basically those who started and what we have now. So it's basically what we started with, then we subtract what we have right now from it. And that is going to give us the number of employees that got terminated or that left.
Yeah. So
Okay.
the denominator, is it just the ones at the beginning of the year?
Yeah, so the beginning, this is like ratio change. Do you understand? Change is like I don't know how to put it, but if you want to find a ratio, it is change divided by the original. Okay. It is the change divided by the original, not what we currently have. Do you understand that?
Okay.
Yeah. So if let's say let me pull up something notepad here. No. Okay. So so let's say at the beginning of the year, okay? Beginning of the year, we had 20 employees, right? Okay. And then at the end of the year, we have, let's say, 18, like that. Now, the annual turnover rate, or if we want to even look at the change Do you understand that? We want to look at the change. The change, somewhere away that differentiation that.
Yeah.
That's this one. That's differentiation. So if you want to look at the change is going to be the difference between these two guys, isn't it? Okay. So we are looking at the difference between the beginning and then the end. Is that not the case? Then we are going to divide everything here by the original. The original is the beginning. You understand? Now, because we are looking at ratio or rate, we tend to multiply everything here by 100. Like this. Okay. So it's not, if you want to look at the formula for, I don't know how to put this one. I don't know how to put it for you to get it, but if you want to look at a change or a ratio, it is always the changes that we've noticed. We divide it by the original value that we used to have. That will multiply that by 100.
Okay, so Pastor, this begs the question, what about the people within the year who left and the people we hired? Because some people will be leaving, some people will be coming in. Those
Exactly.
ones
Exactly. That is why we said this is at the beginning, we had 20. And
okay.
At the end of the period, this is what we have. So whatever then happened in between, if it still falls within this category. Now let's assume that at the beginning we have 20, and then at the end, let's say we have a value like 21. Now, this will imply that we even employed one more person.
Okay.
Do you get it? So we are looking at the value we started with, the value we ended with. We are looking at the difference between that.
Okay. Okay.
Yes. So Melody wanted to say something.
Hello, Pastor.
Yes, come in.
With my little background, the annual turnover, the numerator, which is the people who were terminated, it doesn't look at the change, but rather actually those people who exited during the year. So sometimes when you use people you have at the beginning, when you use the change, it will not reflect the true people who exited or who were disengaged. So we look at number of people who were disengaged or exited from the company without looking at the change. However, the denominator, which is the denominator we are looking at, will also look at people at the employees at the beginning of the year and employee as at the end of the year. So the denominator look at the change, but the numerator look at actually people who were disengaged. Otherwise, when you practically when you are using it within your organization with this formula, you usually get the turnover rate wrong. I don't know whether you are getting me.
Yeah, I get you.
Let's say within the year, we have about 9 people who were disengaged, who left the organization, meaning either through resignation, either through termination, dismissal, or any other reasons. So they have left. That is the numerator. And the denominator will look at the change. So at the beginning of the year, how many employees were we having? We were having 20. During the year, there might be recruitment. So let's say during the year, there might be recruitment. So at the end of the year, how many employees do we have now? So let's say at the beginning we had 20. At the end of the year, the total employee stood at maybe 24. That means 20 plus 24 will give us 44. Then you find the average. So the average becomes the denominator. So that when you are calculating, so those who exited was 9, they were 9. Now the numerator, which looks at people, staff, total staff we have during the at the beginning of the year and the staff at the end of the year, you find the average. So 44 divided by 2 will give you 22. So it will be 9 over 22 times 100. That will give you the turnover rate. That is how we calculate it in reality. I don't know whether you've understood me.
Yeah, I understand where you are coming from. But I have a couple of questions actually.
Okay.
Now, are we making a case or an argument that our turnover rate over here is inclusive or dependent on the number of new people that are also coming in? Now, mind you, what we are interested in right now is the rate at which people are leaving or people are going out. Do you understand? If you
Yes.
want to look at the rate at which people are going out, then what business should we have to do with new ones that are coming in? For example, we took this one out and then we brought this one in. Now, my concern is we want to look at the rate at which something is changing. You get it? We shouldn't have any other thing influencing it. I don't know if
mind you that during the year, those people, the new recruits, some might also leave. So they will be part of those who were terminated. I don't know what at the beginning of the year, maybe we have 20 employees. During the year, at the end of the year, we have 24. Maybe during the year, those people who were recruited during the year, some might even leave. So they are still part of those who were terminated. So their issue must also reflect in our calculation.
Exactly. So I understand you. I think
all types those who were recruited during the year, then it wouldn't reflect the true rate at which we are looking at the turnover rate. It will not reflect the true rate.
Okay, yeah, I
was
understand you.
using per your formula, I was using it to calculate some of the figures we have in our organization, and I realized it wasn't tallying with what the HR also did. And I was kind of confused because per my understanding, those people might even be recruited in December. And those recruitment, people might be disengaged. So they need to also be part of the calculation for the organization.
So this is where the twist comes in. Okay. So we are looking at annual turnover rates for your organization. Okay. And we are interested in, if you really want to find out the rate at which people are leaving, do you understand? The concern is not about, I don't know how to put it. I understand you. It's because of how you are defining turnover rate in your organization. And it makes a lot of sense to include those we started with, new people who were added, and then those who left. Now, since we are looking at annual turnover rate, we are looking at the beginning of the year, how many did we start with? And at the end of the year, how many do we have? So let's say the beginning of the year, there were maybe 20. At the end of the year, how many of the 20 we started with are still there? That is going to give us a true reflection of the rate at which people are leaving. So what you are calculating, of course, it is true. You are calling it annual turnover rate, but it is not, let's say, a reflection of the rate at which the thing is changing. Do you get me? I don't know how to put it, but we are trying to, per what you are discussing, you are trying to bring in additional variables. And those variables can be how many people did we employ, okay, in addition to what we have. Do you get it? Hello?
Hello, Pastor.
Yeah, you are looking at how many we employed in addition to what we have. Okay, that is basically conceptualization issue, your definition for turnover rate. But if you have to look at it from a traditional point of view, we are interested in how many did you start with from the beginning of the year? I started with 10. At the end of the year, how many do you have now? I have 8. So 2 left. And that is what we can use to get the actual change, like the not change, the actual rate at which people are leaving, and then yeah, something like that. Okay. But if we have to introduce all of these variables, like, okay, we started with 20, we have employed 5 more, and this is what we have now. So that is going to be some kind of turnover rate. That is also okay. depending on how you are defining what turnover rate is in your organization. Because I bet you, the way you calculate it in your firm or your area, you will go to a different place, and then how it's calculated is also different.
No, Pasty. I'm not saying that we look at the number of people who were recruited. We look at employees at the beginning and employees at the end. Sometimes employees at the beginning might be different from employees at the end. Either it will increase or decrease. The denominators, I'm looking at the denominator variable. The numerator, which is the upper variable, which looks at terminated. That one, you know that these people exit. That one, you wouldn't look at the change. For the numerator, you wouldn't look at the change. You have to count people who exited. So you have record that this and this and this and this and total number of people who exited are they are 10 people. That one, the numerator, you will not look at the change. However, with the denominator, you have to look at the number of employees we had at the beginning and the number of employees we had at the end of the year. Then you find the average. That becomes your numerator for your calculation. Because if we are looking at in what you are saying, that we look at the beginning and the end, that will give us those who were terminated. It makes the calculation a bit different, because let's say we started the year with 24 people, and at the end of the year we have 23 and we have 28 people. That means nobody left. If we are looking at the numerator you are talking about, that we should look at the beginning and the end, the change. If let's say the beginning of the year you have 24 employees and at the end of the year you have 28 employees, meaning nobody left. But in reality, there might be people who left, but maybe we did some recruitment. That is why we have increased number of employees at the end of the year. That is where I'm looking at it from. I don't know whether you've gotten me.
Yes, I get you. So that is why I'm saying that this is an issue. In fact, you are right, but this is an issue of conceptualization. For example, let me try and then get let's say annual turnover. Let me pull up a couple of formulas, okay? So you understand where I'm also coming from. Where you are coming from, I understand that exactly. I will cool on that. Hello?
Yes, Pastor. Yes.
Yeah. So that the point that I'm trying to drive at is that you have a point, okay? And that is because of how you are defining maybe annual turnover rate at your end. So for example, okay, let's assume for once this one. I'll try to do a quick Google search. How to calculate annual turnover rate. We divide the number of terminatees or something during the year by the number of employees at the beginning of that period. So you see how maybe this organization here is also defining annual turnover rate. Okay, so they are just looking at the number of people who left. You divide it by the number of employees you started with, and the ratio they have is the annual turnover rate. And this is like, I don't know, they are not trying to include maybe any other variables that are going to influence maybe this guy here. Do you understand? They are not looking at this one. That is why we say that within the year, this is what we started with. How many left? Maybe 2. Okay, so out of the number that we started with, 2 left, and the rate is what we are going to call the annual turnover rate. Do you understand? So this formula here being projected is not being influenced by new people who came in and then left. Are you okay? But I think you are also right saying that maybe, of course, people came in, others also left, and those kind of things. But we are, per the formula that I have over there, we are looking at, okay, we have 10 people we started with. Okay, we are interested in these 10 people. At what rate are they going to leave the organization? That is our interest. We are not interested in any other thing that is influencing it, whether we brought in some or something. No, these 10 people we are interested in. At the end of the year, I can 8. That means 2 in frame. Okay, so we are not focusing on the new one because we have a lot of KPIs or metrics over there that are even looking at our employment rate, how often do you employ, and all of those things are there. Okay, so if in your case you are looking at possible variables that are also influencing it, like new ones that came in and the new ones that also left, that is fine. Okay, that is also fine. But like I'm saying, you are not wrong. This is a matter of conceptualization, how you are defining employee turnover rate at wherever you find yourself. I will call on that.
Yeah, Pastor.
Yes, coming.
Yeah.
Yes.
So
yes, coming.
just one formula is just looking at the annual turnover rate of the original people that started the job at the beginning of the year. The other formula is looking at throughout the year, how many people are we able to retain throughout. So it's just looking at two different perspectives.
Exactly.
Okay.
So that is why I'm saying that it's as a result of conceptualization. What is our definition? Do you get it?
Thank you, Pastor.
Yeah. Our definition matters. So you see, you very soon you'll be doing where is that? Is this one? You see, very soon you'll be doing your research work, isn't it? Okay. And then in research, how many of us are going to do something related to supply chain? Maybe some analytics in supply chain, those kind of things. Anybody? Oh, we don't have anyone. Okay. Anyways, let me say this. You'll be doing your research, especially those who will be doing, in fact, most of you may be looking at something related to performance, maybe supply chain performance, maybe effect of analytics on supply chain performance, those kind of things. Some of you will also be doing marketing performance, those kind of things. In fact, the concept of performance, it's an issue. Okay. If you say performance, someone may be looking at performance as profit. When they are making more money, they call it performance. Someone too may be looking at it from resilience. When there is an issue, how fast are we able to bounce back? Someone will say that is my performance. So depending on how you define performance in your research, that is going to influence the kind of output you are interested in. And see, I can't come and then say that in this research or whatever work I'm doing, whenever I mention performance, I mean the ability of the organization to bounce back when there is an issue or a problem in our supply chain. Now, after the analysis, I go like, the organization increased their profit from 5% to 20%. So this is performance. No, it's wrong. Because from the beginning, you said performance means the organization's ability to bounce back. So at the end of your analysis, we want to see that indeed, when organizations do ABC, the performance they are going to get is their ability to bounce back from any issue that comes up. Okay. So Melody, it's an issue of concept, just like someone clarified. We may be looking at it throughout or maybe periodically and stuff like that. Okay. I don't know if something is still not clear. Hello. Okay. So can we proceed with this one?
Yes, Pastor. Thank you.
Okay, sure. So a quick background to this. Of course, I think I have some comments here. Oh, okay, sure. A quick background to this one. Now, we remember the primary objective of HRM, okay? And we said they wanted to achieve the goals of the organization through maybe they selecting or employing workers and then managing maybe the kind of talent they have. Okay. And in fact, trying to do all of these things is about getting the right person for the right job. Okay. And then a key aspect of the HR achieving this goal, getting the right person for the right job, or achieving the goals of the organization is to understand how employees feel about the whole organizational processes, or maybe the kind of services being rendered. So, for example, when the organization begin to roll out something or a policy or a new product, now employees have got their views, their own thoughts and attitude towards whatever thing is being rolled out. If management decide on something that, hey, this is what we want to do, employees have got their own views, thought, and attitude towards whatever thing is being pushed out there. In addition to that, it is not just employees, but customers also have their own views, okay, about this whole thing. And these views can be it can be good, it can be bad. It can also take different perspective, like someone may like it, someone may dislike it. Someone may be angry about any information or policy being rolled out or some kind of advertisement, anything related to the organization. Okay. So basically what we're trying to do over here is that, yes, the organization wants to select the right person for the right job to achieve its goals. However, it is important for the organization to understand the attitude, the way the employees feel about certain activities in the organization. And mind you, it is not just about the employees, but as well the customers. So sometimes you may want to sell product to people, and at the end of the day, or render some kind of service. At the end of the day, your customers will come back to give some kind of feedback or reviews to you. And some of these reviews can be very positive. For example, look at what we have here. This is about hotel service, okay? And this person here came in to put such comment over here. And this is so interesting. Now, the organization is saying that, yeah, we believe we are doing well, because once we have this positive remark from a client, that means we are doing our things right. Now, look at this one. The quality is excellent. Now, this is a positive feedback as well that the organization will be interested in. In fact, we are going to understand why it's even important for the organization to pay attention to some of these reviews that are coming in. Now, look at this one too. You know, the heading, fantastic. That means the person is really interested or enjoyed whatever service was rendered. But sometimes some of these reviews turn out to be bad. It's not always positive, like we are seeing. Now look at this one, extremely rude staff. Okay, now this is a negative review that is coming in, and management will be interested in this. Of course, the whole business of HR is to help achieve the goals of the organization through recruiting the right person for the right job. Now, this is a reviewer coming in, or a client coming in to give this sentiment about a staff, to say that this person here is rude. Then, with the organization getting this kind of information, we'll be able to know how to handle this particular staff. Maybe the staff need to be put on some kind of training. We need to motivate the staff. We need to even understand why the staff was being rude, all of these things. Okay. So with the negative comments, we can have a lot of them. Look at someone writing a whole thesis as the review, which is very bad. Okay. So we have another negative one also coming in here. Now, a typical example, these are just images obtained from the website. Now, I'm going to show you a typical one, okay? When you go to Gigi, I just decided to check this one here this morning. I checked this. Can you see the page?
Yes.
Okay. Hey, those who don't want to comment, is the price carrying you?
Small one.
Number of zeros no, you must show on and Okay, now I visited someone's page and the person is selling a Benz. Okay, now if you look at the Benz and everything, it looks like everything is JJ. Okay, you look at the number of people that have viewed this Benz, like about 1,000 plus. And if you look at the information about the Benz, you see that everything here looks really great. Now, what we are talking about in this course is feedback. So you can see we have 8 feedback. Okay, and this feedback here is given on this guy's here page. So assuming you saw this car and then you wanted to buy it, of course, you wouldn't just look at the price of the car, come and then check the specs, then you decide to maybe show contact, then you call this number here to say that, hey, I've seen your car, I want to buy it and this. No, you may not want to start from this point. You may want to look at people who have had an encounter with this particular organization or individual. You want to look at how he handled them, okay, before you even go ahead to buy something. Sometimes you check the reviews and then we have positive remarks over there. Sometimes you check and someone will be telling you that, hey, I bought one thing from him and I've regretted. Someone will also say, hey, this guy is a scammer. So all of these things are important for the organization, especially the HR. Okay, so let's go ahead and select this one here. Good. Now, if I select this, now look at what we have here. We have feedback about this particular dealer. So we have 5 positive feedbacks. In fact, this is what sentiment analysis is about, to analyze the data to tell that, okay, this feedback here is positive, so we are doing well. This one here, the person wasn't saying that the service is bad or good. And the negative one, the person is saying that, hey, we don't like this one. So this is what we are into. So you look at this one, good dealer, I recommend him for everyone. Of course, chances may be that this person here knows this guy, could be the friend, the brother or something. So they came to put this comment here for it to look good. And this one is saying that couldn't reach a deal. So that means he was able to read the guy, but they couldn't conclude on let's say, agree on a given price. And then we have this person here saying that I was calling this guy, but he received and cut without talking, totally unprofessional behavior. So this is about behavior, okay? And that is accounting to one of the negative sentiments over here. And we have here, there could be a reason for that. Don't take things personal, okay? So you come to look through and you have to read through all of these comments. Do you see? Let's see something. I think the dealer also came. There was no such time to waste when you were trying to pay 7,000 for a phone worth 13,000. Okay, so you see how this person here is talking to be or expressing himself at the comment section for the world to come and see the kind of dealer he is. You can't say that there was no time to waste when you are trying to do blah blah blah. You could just put this one in a good way. Anyways, I don't know. But look at this. We have a lot of comments, okay? A lot of them. Now, assuming you are the organization interested in knowing how your customers or your clients are feeling about the way you operate, the question is, would you have the time to read all of these things one by one? That becomes very difficult. So you can see a summary of it here, that we have 5 positive ones, of which the HR may not be interested in this one at all, because your goal is to develop the talent. If you've developed the talent and people are giving good comments about your employees, then you are good to go. Your interest or your focus is going to be on the neutral and the negative. So once you have the negative, you'll be interested in, okay, what are the negatives? If I select the negative now, and now pops up, okay, it pops up for you to see what negative comments are there. Now, this is going to reduce, look at all of the comments, about 8 of them to just the 2 that are important, this one and then this one, okay? So this kind of analysis is what we are going to pay attention to in this course, okay? So if I come down here, we are saying that sentiment analysis is about using natural language processing and computational techniques to automate the extraction and classification of sentiment. Okay, so just like we saw on the website, they are using a sentiment analysis to grab whatever comment that came in to say that, okay, this sentiment here is positive, this is neutral, and this is also negative. Okay, but the only issue I have on this website here is, of course, they are able to tell me that we have 2 negative comments coming in, but they are unable to tell us the extent to which is negative. Okay, so for example, we may want to say that, okay, this statement here is negative, but if we have to look at the extent, we'll give it like about 30% negative. Okay, sometimes too, we may have some comments that is really bad, and you may want to look at the extent to which is negative. You say that, no, this kind of comment, I'm going to push it to about 90% negative. So you as an HR, since you don't have the time to read all of these negative comments, you may want to look at the extent to which this comment is negative. Then you pay attention to the ones that are like seriously bad, like 50% plus. Okay, you may want to be looking at those ones. Okay. All right. So we are going to conduct this sentiment analysis or perform this kind of analysis to understand whether a review from a client or an employee is positive or it's negative or even neutral. And then to what extent is it a negative, positive, or neutral? Okay. Of course, when it's neutral, we are looking at somewhere at the center, so we are not interested in the extent, but we are interested in if it's positive or it's negative. Okay. So we can also classify some of these sentiment, not only this, but we can say that, okay, this person here is happy, this person here is sad, like those kind of things. Okay. So like we're saying, we can apply the concept of sentiment analysis in various areas like employees' opinion. So you see sometimes in your organization, the HR will send some question to you guys to respond to. Maybe over the periods, what's your opinion about this in our organization? They would want to pick your opinions about certain operations or activities in the organization. Then because you may have a lot of comments coming in, you don't have the time to read all of them. So you would be interested in the negative ones, then you work on that. We can also look at customer information data, product review, okay? If you want to buy something on Amazon, of course, whoever purchased it sometimes may want to come back to give some review to say that, oh, I started using this product and in 2 days time, I started experiencing this. Maybe it was good, maybe it was bad. Now, we can also look at marketing data, consumer attitude, political data to know the views of voters. Just like you check Twitter and people are saying that, you can see the data is there showing that, okay, based on this comment, this post from Donald Trump, people are positive that they are going to vote for him. Others are also saying that they are not going to vote for him. So if you look at our political space, just go and put some information, maybe a positive information about Mahama on the internet. Go to the comment section and you see people who do not like Mahama. They will come and say, no, this is not true. Mahama is a thief, he's this, he's that. And those who like Mahama and vote for him would say, oh, a selfless leader, he is this, like the positive ones. So you may want to use sentiment analysis to scrap all of the data from the comment section to run analysis to see people who are interested in voting for Mahama and those who are not interested in voting for him as well. We can also use it on social data to identify people who think alike. Okay, so if you look at if you put some message out there, for example, I'm used to seeing that on TikTok a lot. Let's say someone broke up with their boyfriend or girlfriend or something like that, and they post it on TikTok. Go to the comment section, and all those who are going to comment may be people who are recovering from a similar experience, and then people who are going through it at the moment, and maybe some kind of coaches. So you come to see that all of these people are like similar. They find themselves in the same bracket. So when you put some information there, people who come and comment, you can strike a line using maybe support vector machine to say that, okay, this category of people think alike, this category of people are like this. Me, Akwesi Pasti, you will never find me comment on maybe a post like a political something, like Mahama did this. Now, this is going to tell you that I'm not really interested in those kind of partisan politics. Okay. If I have to blast you, I'll just blast you and go my somewhere. But I won't come and then say that, okay, because you posted AO about Mahama, I should come and then also throw some kind of stuff in there. Okay. So social media data or social data, we can run sentiment analysis on them to find a kind of people that are similar. Okay. So this is the importance or the reasons why sentiment analysis is even necessary. Okay? So like we said earlier, it's going to provide some kind of insight to management to know how employees feel, how customers feel, whether they are satisfied or not satisfied with a particular service. Remember, if your customers are not satisfied, they will leave. If your employees are also not satisfied, they will also leave. And you wouldn't want to lose maybe these key actors within your organization. Okay. We are saying that it also encourages transparency. Okay. And it also provides an accurate picture of employee opinion, and it's also going to reduce employee turnover. Of course, if you don't understand anything, you draw my attention to it, so we explain it further. Now, we're talking about sentiment analysis, and what you see over there makes it look like it's very easy. Of course, it's not difficult at your level, but then there are some kind of challenges you are going to face when you start your sentiment analysis journey. So, for example, you will come to you find yourself in a situation where you have to make a decision between using individual words for your sentiment analysis, or phrases, or maybe sentences for a sentiment analysis. So, for example, let's say we came to, I don't know how this Gigi is actually running the sentiment analysis on this. The question is, was he running the analysis based on each of the words? Like, he'll check to see if words was positive or negative. Calling, is it positive or negative? Unprofessional, positive or negative? Behavior, positive or negative? Then they find an average to say that, oh, on the average, this statement here is positive or negative. I don't know if that's how they are doing that, but like I'm saying, I present you some kind of challenge to either run the analysis based on words or based on phrases. So based on phrases, to the common question is going to be, how many words are you going to put together to run the analysis on? So in this case, you come to say that, okay, I'm going to run my analysis based on maybe every 10 words. So you are going to count 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Up to this point, you run the analysis. Then you pick this one up to the next 10. You run the analysis. Then you find the average to say that, oh, this statement here is positive or negative. That is some kind of challenge you'll be facing. And the last one is sentence based. Are you going to run the analysis based on sentence? Then I would say that from here up to this point becomes one sentence, and then from here up to this point also becomes another sentence. And everything we have here becomes one sentence. So this is a decision you will have to make, okay? It's one of the challenges you'll be facing in your journey through sentiment analysis. But of course, in most cases, people use sentences to do this. Others also use phrases. You may want to use words depending on the kind of data that you have, okay? And other issues pertains to cost, okay? If you want to write your own commands to do this, that is fine. But if you want to use something like, let's say, let me see. I think I have something on that. If you want to use Power BI to run sentiment analysis, it's possible. You can do that, but you need a premium account, okay, to do this. So that is why we are saying that cost, it can be expensive if you want to use third-party tools like Power BI like this to run your sentiment analysis. Let me see. I don't know if I have. Okay, let me use tracer study. I don't know if I have some kind of qualitative data in here, but let me see. I want to show you Okay. I don't have anything here. Okay. So, guys, you are very quiet. I don't know if you are still there.
As we are here, Pan.
Okay, sure. That's interesting. Now, forget about what's happening here. It's because I've changed the directory. See, it's looking at currently. I said the file was in this kind of folder, but I've changed the directory to this. Okay, but then by default, it's looking through this one. I can easily fix this, but I'm not interested in this. If you look here, you find something like test analytics. Okay. Vision, like computer vision, and then Azure machine learning. Now, all of these things, you can see they will be grayed out, of course. But if you have some kind of qualitative data in here and that you wanted to analyze, the test analytics is going to give you the opportunity to do your sentiment analysis to tell whether this statement here is positive or this statement here is negative. So if you want to do your research in, maybe you go to the website or social media to scrap data to look at people's sentiment with regards to certain policy the government wants to roll out. When you pull the data, you can bring it to Power BI. Use test analytics feature over here to run your sentiment analysis, and you can write some kind of conclusion on that. Okay, but remember, before you use it, you have to pay. And in our case, if you want to use maybe any programming language at all you want, then that becomes free. It's up to you to build up your skill to do this. The other challenge has to do with accuracy of the output. This is a machine trying to look at some statement to say that this statement is positive or negative. We just following, we want to trust the algorithm to say that, okay, this statement is indeed positive or negative, okay? So accuracy is an issue, especially when you are using machine learning models to run sentiment analysis, okay? You have to check the performance to see whether the prediction is good or it's actually bad, okay? Then the availability of skilled personnel, okay? That is also a whole issue in the space of sentiment analysis. Everybody within the space is now doing, want to do machine learning to predict this. Many of us do not know there is something called sentiment analysis, and that puts some kind of pressure out there. Like we need a lot of people who are good in the area of sentiment analysis. And then you come to realize that you are not getting. So these are some few challenges when it comes to sentiment analysis. Okay. Now, for any reason, if you want to run sentiment analysis, we have several approaches. In fact, we are going to, this is a whole tree of it. We'll not talk about it, but this is supposed to give you some kind of direction. Like if you want to use machine learning approaches, we have all of these. If you want to, these are just models, okay? And then within this, we can select any of this, but this shouldn't be the focus. This is just a map to let you know. Because at the end of the day, you may be using any of these, okay? Knowing where it's coming from, of course, for theoretical things is okay. Otherwise, it's not really needed. Now, when it comes to you trying to run sentiment analysis, we have different approaches in doing this. We can go with machine learning approaches where you have to grab all of your data, train the AI model with it so that any comment that comes in, coming. Okay. If you want to grab huge data set, train it on an AI model, then as and when new data comes in real time, you're able to predict that this statement here the person is making is positive or negative or even neutral, and the extent to which is positive or negative. Okay. Now, if you want to go machine learning approach, we have a lot of models out there. Okay. These are models that you've seen before. Okay. Of course, they are there. Python has got it, and then R has got it. Julia too has got them all. So you may want to go by this. And then we also have the rule-based approach. For this one, we don't need to train any model. You don't need to go grab some kind of data, train an AI model for it to do this for you. No, it's on the fly. Once you get the data, you try to clean it, then you run the analysis on the fly. Okay. Then we also have the hybrid approach where you can decide to combine any of these. Okay. So yeah, this is how it works. I don't know if this one here is necessary at our end, but I think per what we are going to discuss, you come to realize what we have over here. In fact, it will become quite obvious that if I have this data, we have all of these sentences. Like we said, you can decide to go by phrases or maybe some kind of words. Okay. When you have it, you start with your analysis. We tend to ask ourselves some kind of questions. Is this a subjective statement or it is an objective statement? So depending on this, the algorithm we are going to use is going to make a lot of decisions to select the ones of interest out of these sentences we are given it. Okay. So when it extracts it, it's able to tell us whether this statement here, whatever subjective statement we have here is positive or negative or even neutral. So this is what we're talking about. So if you want to go machine learning approach, of course, we have unsupervised learning approach where you don't have to give it those kind of color, just throw the data to it and it should be able to find the patterns by itself. And supervised is where you are going to in the process of training the model, you tell it that, okay, hey, these are my predictors and this is the value I want to predict. Okay. So you try to tell the model everything about the data. Okay. And we have all of these, say, models available of which you can use. In addition, if you want to use the rule-based, we can have any of these. But going forward, we are going to see how all of these things work together. Okay. So we have several tools out there we can use in sentiment analysis. Okay. All right. So in this course, we are going to focus on the rule-based one for the sentiment analysis. If you have some time and you would want to explore other machine learning models, that is okay. In fact, I wouldn't want to touch on the machine learning models because it is just the same as what we are used to doing. Where you grab your data, you select whatever values you want to predict, whether this statement here is positive or negative, those kind of columns or features. You need to give it. Then when you are done, you check the performance to make some kind of predictions for you. We are not going by that route because we've seen that before. We are going by the rule-based approach. Okay, and the rule-based, like we said, we can decide to use any tool at all because we have several tools over here. But because we are used to maybe some of these programming languages, we want to try and then use one, for which in my case, we are going to use Python for this exercise. So those of you who are interested in R, you can of course use R for it. If maybe you have access to any of these tools, let me see. Okay. If you have access to any of these tools, you can use them. But in my case, I haven't used any of these tools before. Okay. All right. So like we said over here, we are going to use the rule-based approach. That's the lexicon. And in that approach, we have several steps that we have to go through. First, we need to get our data in place. In fact, we are going to discuss all of these things in details. We need to get our data in place or get our data into the environment where we want to run the analysis. And that is this. Second, we need to clean our data to make sure that all of the issues in the data have been dealt with. We also need to tokenize our data. You remember we said we are going to look at it from several perspectives, whether words, phrases, sentences. So the tokenization is about you breaking the entire note or comment down into either sentences or maybe words or something like that. When we break them down, we call them tokens. Then we also consider something we call stop words. There are some kind of words that do not add meaning to the data itself. So something like is, at, like some kind of things, you may want to remove it depending on the kind of analysis you are running, okay, or the objective at hand. Then the classification. In fact, let's go through each one of them. So the data ingestion is something you've seen before, so I wouldn't want to talk about it. And then we have the data cleaning. Of course, there are a lot of issues in our data that we need to clean. And once we clean it, we have the best of data. And when we have a very good data, it's actually going to improve the kind of analysis or the results we have. Okay, so sometimes you have to deal with the errors in the data. You have to deal with inconsistencies, something like case. Typically in sentiment analysis, you may want to convert even all of your data to lowercase. It's part of the data cleaning process. You even removing stop words become part of the data cleaning process. Then we have the tokenization. So that is what I said. It's about you breaking the entire, let's say, review or notes down into various units that we call tokens. And these units can be words, can be phrases, or maybe end phrase, or it can be, let's say, sentences. Okay. So if you look at this one here, based on words, we have, I will recommend this course to all HR students. That is the sentence over here. So if you're going by a sentence based, then you may want to run the analysis on all of these data after you've removed the stop words. So if I want to remove stop words, of course, yeah, coming.
Okay, you're about to you're mentioning stop words. I wanted to know what the stop words are.
Oh, okay. All right. So if you want to handle stop words over here, now, is there anything we can remove from this statement and still the statement will make sense? I think I can remove this one, the I here. I can take it out and it will still make sense. We'll recommend this course to all HR students. I think I can remove this one and it will still make sense.
Yeah, probably this too.
All two.
You understand? So those are the stop words. Those words, I say, we free man, it doesn't affect the thing. And mostly, you see, because this is an AI thing we are doing, or the computer trying to say that this statement is positive or negative, the statement shouldn't be in a human readable a format like this for the machine to understand. You get it? It can be in some way and still the machine will understand. You can try that with ChatGPT or the Cambro phenomenon. Even if the grammar is wrong, it will still understand you and give you the kind of response you are interested in. Okay. So that is it. So the next stage is going to show you how to remove stop words. So for example, so I will recommend this course to all HR students. So depending on your rule for the tokenization, in fact, we are for the stop words remover. In fact, we have a lot of rules over there we may be considering. But let's say that one of the rules is that any single word over here that is less than, let's say, 5 letters, we want to remove it. Let's assume that this is our rule. If the word is no more than maybe 5 words, we remove it. Then you see this sentence here broken down to tokens like this. It's going to remove this, we'll remove this, remove that, this, and then leave this. Then after the stop words remover, it's going to be left with this. Now, this is going to be the data we feed to the machine to say that, or to ask it whether this thing here is positive or negative. And the machine, I think, will be able to make sense out of this one to say that recommend course. Of course, and then the student is going to make sense that you are trying to say that you recommend this course here to students. So this becomes the portion of the data you'll be using for your analysis. Okay. So Nana, I don't know if this one here is okay
Yes, it
for
makes
you.
sense.
Okay, sure. So this is the sentiment classification. So I think you've seen that, this one. Okay. So the classification is where, when you have this one, you would want to classify this, whether as positive or negative, and the extent to which is positive or negative. Okay. So it's just about you trying to categorize the data to positive, negative, neutral, sometimes based on emotions and things like that. So the results it's going to give you an index, and that index will be between that index will be between -1 and +1. So as the index approaches -1, then we are saying that it is negative. And that is what we have over here. When they ran the sentiment analysis, this guy here was approaching a -1. So they were like, no, this statement is not good. And then this one is also not good. Okay. So as it is approaching -1, then we are saying that it is negative. And as it is approaching +1, we are saying that it's positive. But when it lands on the 0 or somewhere around 0, then we are saying that it is neutral. Okay. So in addition to we saying that this statement here is positive or negative, we are able to tell the extent to which it is subjective or objective. Okay. Now, if it is objective, then we are talking about a fact. Like, this is true. 1 + 1 is 2. That is objective. But if it is subjective, then we are interested in opinion. Okay. This is my opinion about this. Then is it positive or negative? So we are interested in statements or reviews that are quite subjective. Say that Obia want an opinion about that same thing. That makes it subjective. Then 2, we want to pick that subjective comment. Because if it is objective, we are not really interested in that much. Okay, because 1 + 1 will always be 2. Now, if it is subjective, which is someone's opinion, then we may want to understand what the person's opinion is, whether the opinion is positive or negative or something similar. So this is an example. Okay, with this one, I don't know if I would want to still go through the codes with you, but this is the entire codes. I wrote this code in Jupyter, and then I had to take a screenshot so you can see. So you can see from here, let me exit this one. So you can see from here that this is a whole image, all right? So if once you have this slide here, you can run this kind of code, or I can share the notebook with you so that if you want to run it yourself, you can run it. But this is all, and this is the output, okay? But when we have some time, I think we can try our hands on it for everybody to understand everything or whatever thing is happening over here. All right. So we have several libraries for sentiment analysis. Okay. We have Veda is there. We have the test blob, and in fact, the likes. We have a lot of them. Okay. And all of these libraries are built on top of the natural language processing toolkit. Normally, you hear something NLTK. Okay. So because we said we are going a lexicon or rule-based, first we are looking at how to use the test blob for sentiment analysis. And it's as simple as you importing the test blob object. Once you have it, you pass whatever test you want to give it to. So assuming this one here was a whole review, then you remember in Python, we can split the data, okay, based on any character. You can split it based on full stop to mark the end of a sentence. You can decide to use spaces to mark words, okay? But this is just a single sentence or test, okay? So when you pass the test to the test blob object that we just called, we can now check, let's say, the method sentiment on that object. And after giving or running the sentiment, or maybe calling the sentiment method on it, it's going to give you a result saying that polarity is 0.75 and the subjectivity is 0.725. What it's trying to say is that if it's approaching +1, then we are saying that it's a positive review. Okay, so yeah, I think we have it here. Approaching +1 is a positive review, and over here is negative. Okay, so once we have our polarity being 0.75, this is trying to tell us that this is a positive review, and then it's quite subjective. Okay, if it is not subjective, we may not be really interested in this one. And of course, this statement here is positive. This is a great movie. I really enjoyed it. Okay, but other models are going to tell you that, hey, positivity, it's here, negativity is here, neutral, it's here. Okay, but the test blob, let's say, library doesn't report positive, negative. It tries to report the polarity ratio 0.75. Then you understand that getting to 1 is positive and getting to -1 is negative. So that is for the test blob. In fact, when you try to check VEDA, it's also the same thing as what we have over there, but I think that one is quite simple. Okay. All right. So if you look at this one here, we try to import VEDA sentiment analysis. Okay. So all we need to do is to initialize this object over here. And once we initialize it, this is what I'm calling it, analyzer. However you may want to call it, that is fine, but it is sentiment intensity analyzer. Now I try to give it the same statement. Now remember, because both of them are using different algorithms, they're going to give you different kind of responses. Of course, this guy here tries to analyze the data, okay, to say that, oh, I didn't find anything negative about this statement. In terms of neutral, I find it more like the probability is 0.3 or the ratio, like about 38% neutral. And positivity, they are looking at about 0.6 or 61% positive. Okay. And this is trying to tell you that, hey, this model here is saying that this statement here is positive. If this one here was less than the value over here, then we know that there is a problem, which is trying to say that this sentiment here is negative. Then we have the bet sentiment analysis. That this is more transformer, kind of AI model. Okay, so we are not going to pay attention to any AI model over here. But if you want to look at transformers, we have a whole bunch of literature on transformers. Okay, something like ChatGPT is a large language model. Okay, those are also transformers. So the first activity over here, there are a lot of things over here that are not really part of the sentiment analysis, but we'll try to cover the end-to-end activities in the sentiment analysis process. One, we are going to assume that the data is not at hand and we can pull the data from some online sites or something. And that's the reason why we have newspaper 3K. This is a package you have to install in Python, and I'm going to show you how to do that. So once you install newspaper 3K in maybe your environment, you will need to connect to some website. So for example, I can connect to Gigi and then scrap all of the data on Gigi. So like I'm saying, you don't really need maybe this package here for the purpose of data scrapping from the website. We have a whole lot of tools in Python for data scrapping. So those who want to venture into data engineering, I think this is for you. We have something we call Beautiful Soup. Let me see if I can find it so that you guys, you have Python, Beautiful Soup. Yeah. So you can see, if you are interested, you can check this one here. Oh, I think, okay, someone is also doing a step-by-step approach in how to use Beautiful Soup. Yeah. So you can see, we can simply use Python to import request library that will try to get information from this website. Okay. Once we get it, we'll try to print it to see the content over there. So this is one way we can get this, but Beautiful Soup is also there, which is also going to help you to scrap any data from any website at all you want. Okay. So Beautiful Soup is there to scrap any data at all you want for you. We have a step-by-step tutorial over here to also guide you in Beautiful Soup, because over here we are not really talking about Beautiful Soup. Okay, so I can't really tell you so much. Now look at this. We try to use request to get information from this website, and this is the output. Okay, and you can see how funny the output looks. It's even scrapping all HTML and then JavaScript codes for you, of which we are not interested in. But if you tend to use Beautiful Soup and then we decide to pass it, you see, once we have this, we can use Beautiful Soup to get the HTML content. If you're interested in all of the data within this div, you can now use div to grab all of the content of the div and not the HTML tags itself. Okay, so yeah, if you want to use Beautiful Soup, you are good to go. But we also have the newspaper 3K. That is the one we have here. You can decide to install the newspaper 3K, and it can help you to scrap the data on any website at all you want. Once you have this guy, you can import it, connect to some website, download the data, and then prepare the data for sentiment analysis. Okay, so this is an example. Okay, all we tried to do was, after we installed newspaper 3K, we try to import it. Okay, so from newspaper, we try to get article out of it. Then we pass the link, the URL to it. Once you pass it to it, we download all of the content over there, then we pass it. Then we can grab all of the text in that particular data we have. Okay, all right. So these are the codes we wrote. I think we wrote these codes last year. I think the last year batch we wrote these codes. So I had to decide. I had to get images of those codes here, so that we'll use it for our purpose. So yeah, the second activity, in fact, the first activity is, this is the code that you're going to write. It's nothing really serious. Okay. So when you have newspaper, okay, newspaper is going to help you use the article object to scrap all of the data and then present the test. Once you have it, we'll look at the next step by you trying to run some kind of sentiment analysis on it. Okay, and this one here, we're trying to analyze emotions. Okay, I don't know if we have the display over here, but anyways, we try to analyze emotions. We have some test file with a lot of emotions, whether you are sad, this person is happy, and that. Okay, so that is for the second activity. And the third activity is to use NLTK. Okay, so to do that, we have to install NLTK. So because by default, Jupyter will not come pre-installed the NLTK. So we have to try and then install it. And once we install it, we can import and then download NLTK itself. Okay, and once we have that, we can decide to run the kind of analysis we are interested in. And of course, when you start to download, when you run this command, you try to download it, this small guy here is going to pop up to show you that, oh, all of these things are downloading. So in my case, you come to realize that I've installed all of these things here. Okay. So when you start, you are going to get all of those things. So yeah, I'm going to share all of the codes with you. If I'm unable to find those codes, we are going to write these codes again. Are we okay on that?
Yes.
Okay, yeah. Because basically, if I have it, it's the exact same codes we are going to write. Okay, that is why I don't see why we have to rewrite all of these codes. Where we can maybe save some time. But if I'm unable to find those codes, we are going to trust me, run or write all of these codes again for you to have some kind of hands-on feel to it. Okay. All right. So the next thing we are going to do is with our social network analysis, like we talked about. What time are we supposed to be closing?
The break is supposed to be at 10:30, and we are supposed to have the break is supposed to be from 10 to 10:30, and then the next session is from 10:30 to 12:30.
That is still HR.
Yes, please.
Or a different course?
No, still HR. So HR ends at 12:30.
Okay, I get it. Please, a moment. Let me see if I can find this real quick. No problem. Wow. Okay. And it is now GMT2023 and yeah. Oh, I'm so lucky, guys. I found. Oh, where is this thing? Good. Let me share everything here. Please, can you see my screen?
Yes, we can see.
Yeah. Well, forget about what's happening here. This is some project I'm working on for someone. So this is the activity one that we're talking about. Let me see. Activity one here. Yeah, this one, the newspaper guy. So this is it. Okay. All you need to do is to run this guy. And once you run it, you call this guy here. In fact, let me see. I think I should be able to get all of the information I need. So this guy here has been executed successfully. Now I try to pull all information from this particular site. In fact, let's try and then see what is here. Let me use this one. Oh, what did I do? Oh, too bad. There's some funny website we landed on the last time for some kind of good news and bad news. So this is the data. This is the data we're trying to scrap. Everything here. Okay. And so we did this, try to get this one and try to get the article. Okay. Yeah. So you can see when we get this, we try to download, we try to pass the data to remove unnecessary things from it. Then we get the text out of the article. And the text is what we are interested in. That is why I have to assign it to the article variable. So if I try to see what is in the article, you can see it's getting me all of the input, the data from this particular website. It's getting everything we have here. Everything. Everything. Okay, but I'm not interested in seeing this thing here. So let me take it out and execute this one. Now, when we are done, we have to try and then clean it. Okay, and then in clean it, that's the reason why we have to call the strange library over here, just to handle our punctuations. Okay, all right. But you come to realize that when we called the article, where is it? You see this, guys, like the next line. So after this and this, everything here should be on the next line. So wherever you see \n, you see this one, it's supposed to be like on the next line. So something like this. You see how these things are arranged? Here, next line, here, next here, more like a paragraph. But if you look at this, data now you're extracting, it will bring this one to this, it will put them together. That becomes difficult. And that's what we're trying to handle at this point. We try to replace all of these things. We don't need the \n in our data because we don't really need it. Okay. So this is what the first one was trying to do. We try to get our data ready for us. So let me try and then get the article at this point after cleaning it, and you can see all of the \n have been removed. So this data here becomes clean. So I don't know if going forward we use the same data for the sentiment analysis, but I think this one here was not for the purpose of sentiment analysis. We wanted to demonstrate how you can connect to a website and then scrap all of the data over there. Now, the second one too was showing you how to grab data from a file. Okay, and I think we have the file here, this one. So this is the file, and then the file you can see at hello world Python is this. Okay, so we'll try to come to this end to see that, hey, there is a file called file.test, which is this one. Open and then read it. When it's done reading it, we'll try to get the content out of it, and this is this one. And for the activity 2, okay, the activity 2 is here. Yeah. So we're trying to analyze data to extract emotions out of the data. So that is what the activity 2 was about. But for the activity 2, we're still using the same data set. Hello world, I love to write Python codes. It can make you sad, especially when there are bugs. Python is aghast. So if you look at this one here, we're trying to run some kind of analysis on it. But it's more about emotions. Okay. We open, by now you know what is in the data, right? So if I call test, you know, you can see some uppercase, lowercase, and all of those things there. We are not interested in that one. So to handle it, remember our data transformation, we said we normally will transform all of these things here to lowercase so that we can see that we have a uniform or standardized kind of data. Okay, so we're trying to handle, look at this. If I call this test, you can see all of these guys in here and all of these unnecessary things here. Okay, like the punctuations. Okay, in fact, if I call strange dot punctuation, let me include one more cell here, and then so that I can call strange dot punctuation. So spelling to me. Oh, I haven't called. Oh, I have to execute this one. Okay. Okay, good. So you see, in what we're trying to do here is to remove or handle all of these punctuation marks. Okay. Now the punctuation marks include exclamation mark, double quote, dollar, percentage, all of these guys. Okay, in addition to the @ symbol and then things like that. So that is what we're trying to do over here. We want to be able to replace all of the punctuation marks with empty, like something empty like that. Do you understand? So we could have just picked everything here, then paste it here. Okay, like you have to define all of the punctuations you want to remove. You can say you want to remove the @ you want to remove exclamation, blah blah blah. But this is tedious. I can simply call the string of punctuation. That means it's going to plug everything here inside here, so I don't have to worry about all punctuation marks. And yeah, so once I have that handled, then I now want to split my data. You remember the tokenization. We said we could decide to split our data based on a full stop that becomes a sentence, or based on space. Because this is my test now. This is my test now. And I want to split my test based on space. So it's like this. I put an empty space there. So it's going to extract hello, and then extract world, extract I, all of these things. Okay. So now if I look at the test list, okay, look at how the data has been arranged. Okay, and that is similar to what we had here. This one. Okay, we're trying to convert this guy here to this guy here, but the way we are trying to do this is manual. Okay, we are trying to split it. This is a manual approach. There is a better way of achieving this, and I'll show you that. And now we are going to run our analysis to see maybe the emotions attached to each one of them. Now I have a test called a file called emotions.txt, and I have all of the emotions in here. So for example, if you see something like a victimized is same as maybe cheated, that is the emotion. Okay. If someone is accused, we call it cheated. If someone we try to put all of these things here. So you can see that this can be very difficult when you are running analysis related to emotions. Okay. We need to have all of our emotions as against various words in a separate file. But of course, there is a better way of achieving this. But this is sentiment analysis 101. So we have to go through these steps. So we try to replace all of them \n, like the next line, with this. If I remember, it's not an empty space. We are just removing it from it. Then we also remove all of the comments from the text. Then we also remove all single quotes. So whatever thing we have here is we are trying to clean the data kakra. Okay. Then when we are done, we try to split the data according to this quote. All right. So basically, we try to group. What I'm trying to do here is to group similar words together that we count. All right. We try to group similar words that we count. So when we counted the number of sad, okay, based on this. So sad, maybe we had afflicted in there, and I don't know, we had this in there, another sad or something, yeah. Okay, so we're just trying to count how many times did we find maybe sad in there. I don't know if we did something like this one, but I don't know how to put it. But this guy here is coming from a matplotlib, okay, for plotting. You don't really need to maybe plot it before you can see it. You can just render the result, like how many for sad, because at the end of the day, we are plotting the keys, which is sad, loved, fearful, as against values. So we can just decide to print the keys as against the values. So this is trying to say that for this statement we have here in our file, this one, the number of sad expressions in there is more than the loved ones and then that of the fearful ones. In the case of activity 3, that is where we try to install NLTK, okay? So you are going to run this kind of code via our console, okay? So for example, do I have my console here? But I can easily get it in. Okay. Let me call this one Anaconda prompt. Let me call notebook. I hope what I'm doing here is it's not confusing anyone. Okay, so let's say, let me come to data stack. Come again. Okay, I don't know. It seems we've done a lot of things here, but let me just create a new, you see this guy, this terminal. This is the guy I'm talking about. You can run this guy. This is where you'll be running all of the things we said we are going to install. We are going to run it in the console. So if you look at what we have here, you remember we said this is how you start. You are going to run pip install newspaper 3k. Okay, so this command here, you write it here, okay, like that. If I hit it with internet access, I should be able to install it if I don't have it already. Okay, but requirement already satisfied and I have them already. So you can run it. So you'll find all of the codes in here. Okay, just grab this, run it in the console, and you are good to go. When you are done, immediately you run this. It's going to give you this pop-up. This pop-up. It will give you this pop-up. Then you hit download and it will start downloading all of them. but you still just have to put this code here. Okay, so in fact, we are using a different approach to handle the same kind of data, but this time around we are going to run some kind of sentiment analysis on it. So in fact, I'm going to import my NLTK, which is the main point, and my VEDA model. Consider plugging in your battery saver. Oh. Okay. So this is it. We have my sentiment analysis guy here. Now forget about every other thing that is happening here. The strange. Of course, you know why we are calling the strange. Okay, we need to get the punctuations out. That's the reason why we are calling the strange. And this is a better way of grabbing all of your stop words and a better way of tokenizing your data. Remember over here, we're trying to tokenize it ourselves by splitting with space. But when we come here, we have a better way of handling this. So forget about everything that is happening here. Let's focus on just this guy. Of course, you've seen this one. You know how to open and then read a test file. And because that's coming from activity 2. The other one is you know how to convert it to a lowercase. And the third one, you know how to remove all of the punctuations from it. And the last one is actually our analysis. Okay. Now that we have our test, we are trying to define a function called analyze test so that every single test we give it, it's able to analyze it for us. Okay. So that's what we are doing here. So for example, if I do this and then run this, now I'm now ready to analyze some kind of test. Okay. But I think I already have my test, which we are obtaining from the open the file. I try to pass it to this, run the analysis, and then it tells me negative sentiment with score 0.221. This is not how the result is going to be, but it's supposed to give me these values. But of course, I decided to put some small note over here for us to see what is happening. So I'm saying that if the positive value is bigger than the negative value, then this is a positive sentiment. Otherwise, it is a negative sentiment. Okay. But if it is 0, then we are saying that, or if this one is the same as this, then we are saying that it is neutral. Okay. All right. So if I try to analyze this, you can see it gives me sentiment with score this, which is negative. And then if I come here, hello world, I think I'm okay with this example. This is also trying to tell me that this is positive. In fact, we can try another one to say that I want to analyze test. Maybe, hey, I think Ghana is sinking. Okay, we can just do this and then check if this statement here is positive or negative. Let me see what didn't go well. Name, oh, I haven't defined something. Oh, okay, it's this guy. So we are trying to say that if this is the positive, this is the negative. For now, let me just exclude this one because we are not going to get this kind of oh, then I think this one here is neutral. That is why. So it will be needed neutral sentiment. Okay. But of course, you know, like, do you remember one of the challenges we faced? We said that in sentiment analysis, one of the issues can be performance. So looking at the kind of model we are using over here, you see the performance is not really great. This guy here is saying that it's neutral. It doesn't really know whether the statement we are making is positive or negative. But I'm expecting that because I'm saying, hey, I think Ghana is sinking, then we're expecting that this one here gives me some kind of negative vibe. I think Ghana is maybe really is in a bad state. Yeah. So let's run this and you can see that this is saying that because I'm saying it's in a bad state, it is negative sentiment. Okay. So this is an issue with performance. Like I said, we have a lot of models out there. You can use the test blob and the likes if you want. Okay. So this is a Veda trying to do some kind of things for us. Okay. All right. So this is just a demonstration of how to tokenize maybe your data, but you may not even need this one at this point, because if you have to tokenize it to run your analysis, then you have to run this through a loop. Okay, so when you run the loop, each sentence you are going to push it through analyze test. So the whole idea starts from here, getting your data ready, then you pass your data to this function here, which is simply this one and this one, and we are good to go. All right. Then I think activity 4 was yes, coming.
Yes, before you go on, quick one.
Okay.
No, yeah. I'm just asking a question. So with this, with the model that we are using for the NLTK, looking at the example you just gave, it wasn't able to detect the neutral sentiment very well. Is there a way you can go in to specify your classification, modify it? Like when you were doing the 101, you see you gave it some specification whereby it was looking at it to determine whether the emotion of the statements. With NLTK, they have already done their own work already. You are using the algorithm. But when if you realize that something's not going well, is there a way to go in there and modify things to suit how you are using it, or you have to go and take a new model altogether and utilize it?
Okay, well, we have different ways of doing this. Of course, maybe this one here is not performing well because of how we are doing it. And of course, we have this our data. We didn't try to clean the data, do like whatsoever. All of the cleaning we're doing here was respect to removing punctuation marks and that. But we didn't even get down here to tokenize our data. Do you remember we said tokenization is also important and it forms part of the process? We didn't tokenize, we didn't do anything. We just wanted to demonstrate how this thing here is going to work. So in your case, if you want to do it, of course, I think we did that in the activity 4. I'm sure. We'll have to first tokenize all of our data before we even go ahead to apply this one on it. So there are some kind of steps we may not want to miss in the process. But of course, if this one here is not really working well, we may want to try a different model as well. Okay, because performance is an issue.
Okay, thank you.
Okay. So we still have our Veda in here. Okay, so we have this guy. Of course, let me maybe grab all of these things, because when it's neutral, it's either 0 or the positive and negative are the same. So it doesn't really make sense. We're trying to compute the neutral value. Okay. So you remember this is Veda, and do you remember about a test block? You remember about that? Oh, and I'm Refi. Okay, let me go back.
Yes, Pastor, you remember?
Yes. So we said we have the test block. Where is he? Oh, where is that guy? This guy. We can use this one here for sentiment analysis, and we can also use Veda to do that. So over here is more like a comparison we're trying to do. So we try to pick the same statement, give it to Veda to analyze, to tell us its opinion, whether it's positive or negative. Then we also ask test blob to also analyze to tell us whether it's positive or negative. But remember, test blob is going to return a polarity ratio. Okay, so we have two functions. One is analyze test with Veda, then analyze test with blob. Okay, then we have this one. Hey, lovely. They want to analyze it with Veda. So Veda is saying that this is a positive sentiment with score 0.8, and test blob is saying that this is also a positive statement, but then the intensity is 0.5, and it's trying to give us that, okay, this is a subjective statement. Now, we want to do this again with something different. I want to put the test. Well, what was the test? I think we wrote something. Hey, I think Ghana is sinking. Right? You remember?
Yeah, you said Ghana is sinking. I think Ghana is sinking.
Yeah. So there's it. It's sinking. Okay, good. So I want to try with Veda and as well. this one here to see which one is going to perform better. Okay, so we'll try with Veda and, oh, what is that? Oh, we haven't executed any of them. That's fine. Okay, so Veda is saying, oh no, not that one. Okay, good. We are not there yet. Okay, good. So according to Veda, this is a neutral sentiment, right? Then let's grab test blob and see what it's also going to say. It's also saying that the polarity is like 0.5 and the subjectivity is this. And we remember that when we are heading towards 1, that we are saying is positive. When we are getting to, let's say, negative, then we are saying is negative. So according to test blob, it finds some kind of positivity here, unless, of course, it doesn't understand the context we are in. So you see the issue right now, you have different kind of algorithms, and because maybe we are unable to handle our data well, sometimes it's unable to give us the kind of response we may be interested in. So sometimes you may want to reach out to AI models, like maybe support vector machines and the likes. And sometimes too, you may want to tokenize your data. Okay, you may want to tokenize your data to understand or come out with better outputs or results. Okay, all right. So I'll share this one here with you for all of these activities for your consumption. Okay, and if in your research you identify something, I think it's important, you may want to share with everyone here so that we can all learn from it. But at least the important thing you have to be going out with from this point is that we have something like sentiment analysis, which helps us to tell whether a statement is positive or negative, and even the extent to which is positive or negative. But of course, there are some challenges with some of these traditional models, in that when the thing is positive, it can tell you that, hey, I don't know anything about it. So that gives us opportunity to explore wider, to see what other approaches we can use in handling this. But remember, the ultimate thing is that you would want to go through all of these processes if you want to achieve the best results. In fact, our focus was more on running the sentiment analysis for us to see that, okay, this is positive, this is negative, and the like. So when you get your data in, try clean it, try and then tokenize it, because it's very important. Try and then remove stop words. And that is what we have also demonstrated here, that we have demonstrated here that this is how we can tokenize our data. So let me see if I can pull final tokens. I have to execute all of those things there. I have to start running from here, and I don't want to do that. Let me restart kernel and clear all output so that I don't have this thing showing over here. So when you get a file, you can run everything, okay? And yeah. So I can remove all of the output from here. So that everything looks clean. So when you are trying on your own, you can do something like that. Please, any questions up to this point? 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 Okay. All right. Sure. So if we don't have any questions, then we are done with the sentiment analysis. The next thing we'll have to talk about is social network analysis. So for social network analysis, we are going to talk about it, God willing, tomorrow. I wouldn't take so much of your time today because tomorrow is there and we'll do all of these things. And that one, I think we are going to take some time. Social network analysis is quite interesting, and you see a lot in here. For those of you who may want to use social network analysis for your research work, just like I use in my M4 you may want to pick inspiration from that work and then pay attention to what's going to happen here. Then you can use it to run some sentiment analysis or, some social network analysis to understand whatever thing is happening within the space. Okay. So if there isn't any question, then I'll end the session here. Then we meet Golan tomorrow. Is it in the afternoon, right?
Yeah, it's in the afternoon, 1 to 5.
1, okay, 1 to 5. Then maybe about 1 to 3, it should be done. Let me see. I want to stop the recording. Okay, good.